I truly don't know why he's traveling all this way from Italy. I don't know if that's going to heal First Nations throughout Canada. I hope it helps at least a few.
Adam Soos here for Rebel News in Edmonton, Alberta for day 2 of Pope Francis's visit. We are going to have Pope Francis visiting a Catholic church, Sacred Heart Church, which is a church very much oriented and dedicated towards the Indigenous community right here in Edmonton. I had the opportunity to stroll by earlier, and in fact they do already have quite a large area around that church shut down, but we're going to get as close as we can. That is one of those events where we may very well see protests. Very much looking forward to bringing you the other side of the story, plus having those difficult conversations, asking the tough questions about the alleged mass graves that have largely been debunked, about the legacy and ongoing legacy of trouble in Indigenous communities, particularly the ongoing legacy of lack of clean drinking water, as well as the politicization of Indigenous issues, particularly residential schools, by people like Justin Trudeau who are just trying to seek political capital. We're going to be having those conversations and more throughout the day today with people, and we urge you to go to popereports.com to get all the latest coverage and also to support the important work that we're doing. Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we are now on location here at Sacred Heart Church, a church designated to serve Indigenous communities. Particularly, Pope Francis is set to arrive here very, very shortly. We're going to be speaking with a few people outside, some of the people who are going to be involved in these ceremonies, to garner their impressions and the emotional response they have in relation to Pope Francis's arrival. So I guess first off, just to tell us about the message on your sign here, love conquers all. What does that signify for you in relation to Pope Francis's visit?
Well, in life we have two choices, to pick love or fear, and with this reconciliation, instead of living in fear, I'm choosing love, because love truly conquers all.
So what does love look like to you? What do you think is the loving, compassionate response to this clearly difficult circumstances people are facing?
The truth of history and owning up to it, responsibility.
Some look at the effort he's made to come from his country to Canada and do the apology, yet some feel like it wasn't enough because we're still carrying a lot of that pain with us, which will never go away because we've been traumatized for life from all of this. Well, a lot of my people around this continent have endured all that pain, and they live with it. And then for the Pope to come down, it kind of just opened up a lot of emotions, from acceptance to not acceptance, and it's different between everyone.
I truly don't know why he's traveling all this way from Italy. I don't know if that's going to heal First Nations throughout Canada. I hope it helps at least a few. What else can I say? And I don't know how this is going to help.
For me, it's about reconciliation. The Pope was in charge of the Catholic Church, so it's his responsibility to really come over here and explain what he intends to do about it, because they're responsible.
And so do you think that this is just going to be words and an apology tour, or do you think that there's going to be sort of tangible action, or are you hoping?
There definitely needs to be some tangible actions associated with this, not just words. So I definitely look forward to see what else in concrete actions can be used.
I think the apology back when we were in Rome in the spring, and the apology again reiterated today, it means different things to all types of people. For some, especially some of our survivors, this is very significant for them. It gives them an acknowledgement of the harms that were done to them in these schools, and it helps them along on their healing journeys. For others, they are hoping for a stronger apology, one that brings out an acknowledgement and a recognition of the Catholic Church as an institution and the role that they played in residential schools, not just individuals. And so, this is day 1 of the Pope's penitential pilgrimage, and we hope to continue to hear more from him throughout the week. But these are steps forwards down our pathway for reconciliation.
How do you counter the politicization with truth and with love?
Sacred Heart leads by example. I actually fallen away from the church, and Sacred Heart was the thing that brought me back to my faith and my understanding, because they didn't deny that these things had happened. They hold space, and holding space is holding love for those that have survived this trauma. And it's really leading by example. Sacred Heart is choosing love over fear, and with that, it helped me choose love over fear in my heart when it comes to my personal reconciliation and understanding, because I had benefited from colonization. We all have. Therefore, it's all of our responsibility to help mend this healing.
Addressing current issues for Indigenous communities like clean water, boil water advisories, would there be perhaps more significance and an indication of real change with the Catholic Church if the Pope was advocating or at least asking Catholics to make that a priority rather than simply looking at the past, addressing some of the wrongs today?
Absolutely. I think, everybody has a role to play in reconciliation, and acts of reconciliation can be big and they can be small. One of the most, consequential pieces of the Pope being here and bringing all of this attention to the issues that Indigenous people face in Canada is that it starts a conversation and it continues this conversation. The more that we're talking about it, the more people become aware, and the more friends we make along the way to continue to help us advocate for the change that we need to see here in Canada.
Rather than simply looking at the past and apologizing for the past, should they be fixing some of the problems of today?
I completely agree with you. They should upgrade all of the communities, especially where services are in demand, like health services, child social services, policing, all of that.
We realize that deeper down, this is a very solemn reason that he is coming to visit us. So that's in the background, and we know that he's coming to bring words of repentance. And most people are receiving those. Some people are not as receptive, but there is a custom in Indigenous community that you receive your guests well. You show them good welcome and hospitality. So that's what we're doing here. Sacred Heart has been an Indigenous parish, officially you could say, from 1991. And so there are many other people who also come here, but the culture of the parish is Indigenous Métis, and so we're very happy to welcome an elder of our church.
Well, the Pope's visit at Sacred Heart is set to wrap up shortly here. A significantly large crowd has gathered. The event was entirely peaceful. We saw effectively no counter-protesting. We did have some conversations. People certainly divided, but very optimistic that there will be a spirit of healing resulting from Pope Francis's visit here at the Indigenous Community Church, Sacred Heart. As always, you can catch all of our reports on this topic and on the Pope's visit at popereports.com. And I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. Hey guys, I want to encourage all of you to go to popereports.com. You can support our independent coverage of Pope Francis's visit here. We're not only covering the visit, but we're asking tough questions on behalf of Indigenous communities as to what steps can practically be taken and how we can do far more than simply politicizing Indigenous tragedies, how we can give them a voice and give them a platform to genuinely address their concerns. For all of our reports and for answers to all these tough questions, go to popereports.com.